plays video games all day, and his wife is fed up.
Hey, what's up? This is going to be a shorter video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to provide value with your callouts. So what I'm going to start off with is some basic stuff you'll want to call out, how you want to call it out, what you want to say, those kind of generalizations. I'm going to show an example of one of the more advanced type of callouts, what I like to call determinations. I'm going to provide a link with some callout terms and then get into some other stuff. But so let me start off. One of the important things you want to call out are important cooldowns. So for example, you want to call out if Tracer has no recall, Zarya has no barriers, or Ana has no sleep, stuff like that. Really big important cooldowns that can change the how aggressive your team wants to be on certain heroes. Next up would be enemy positions, especially flankers. So, for instance, if Soldier's playing on high ground, you want to call out Soldier playing high ground, or depending on where he is. So, Soldier playing on high ground, he's on left alone. Make sure you'll want to call out the structure is where he's playing, who it is, what they're doing, and if they're alone or not. And then cooldown usage, of course. If you can get that in there, that's an important part. So. You'd want to call out if he had no heal, for instance, you'd say Soldier high ground, no heal, alone. You also want to condense it to just get it out before it's irrelevant. You can also utilize geometry in your callout, so you could say Soldier low near elevator. For instance, that's with the elevator on Oasis. I do want to put a little PS in there. Geometry callouts aren't as useful in the lower ranks, just because teammates seem to have they'll have less map knowledge, so they might not know where things are, or if they do, they might have to think a little bit about it. And by that point, if it's been a couple seconds since the callout, it's probably irrelevant. Utilize health kits in your callout, so you'd say McCree 1 on our Mega. So when you say McCree's 1, McCree is 1. Our side, so you'd want to say, so if it's the Mega towards your side, you'd say our side Mega, just to condense the call out, or enemy Mega if it's near their side, Mega, Mini, blah blah blah. The other one would be objectives. So my example is Tracer no cooldowns on cart, or you could say Tracer no cooldowns on point. That kind of thing. Very basic stuff. Another thing you want to call it is enemy status. This is kind of a combo of cooldowns, like I'd mentioned previously, plus health. So if there was a Widow that was low, you'd say, and she had no grapple, you'd say Widow 1, no grapple. Just condense it as much as you can and get as much information in as possible. And my call out generalization I subscribe to is more is better than less. So even if you hit a Widow and she's 1, but she gets out of the fight and your team probably can't do anything with it, I wouldn't make that assumption. Just call it out. Maybe you didn't know your ball was back there and he's able to slam on her, and he wouldn't have had that knowledge without you telling her. Or another reason it's still important to make the call out is it means your team can push. You can make I call them determinations, like I said previously. So if the Widow's 1, she's out of the fight for a bit, what you want to call it is Widow's 1, let's be aggressive, because that means Widow's gonna, she's gonna drop, she's gonna try to find the mini, or she's gonna go to her healers and get, number 1, she won't be aiming on your team, and number 2, their healers will be focused on the Widow for a moment. Your team can, they can be aggressive with that. They can take another angle. They can take point, something like that. Another example I give is Winston. If he has no cooldowns, you'd say, Winston, no cooldowns, let's focus him. Make a determination. People subliminally, when they have a goal given to them, they want to do it. So if you just say, Winston, no cooldowns, people might focus him. But if you say, Winston, no cooldowns, let's focus him, it'll give people a common goal, and they'll want to do it a little more in their head. So an example I have of making a determination is in this clip, which I'll show you real quick.
I don't actually mean like the 4-4 thing. I mean, I have it, but it doesn't fucking mean shit.
Sun is in truck.
I'm using it just to make this kid mad.
You can pressure this Reaper, Zen's back.
You guys are doing fucking great.
Just hold it.
So as you just saw, I made the call out to focus on all pressure on the Reaper due to 2 reasons. A, we saw that the Reaper had no Wraith. He just used it. So he wasn't going to be able to get out without TP, and he can die in that. Number 2 was his only person with him was Zen, who was playing that angle, as you saw, where he had a small angle that he could see the Reaper. So I knew that Zen had just been dinked. I just hit him with a couple headshots, so he wasn't going to be too aggressive. Plus, he doesn't have the movement ability to move to a better angle to help Reaper. So with that knowledge, I then planned to boop him in, so I made the call out and then booped him in so that he couldn't get support from his Zen, he had no Wraith, so he could die super easily. Okay, so this is the support-oriented part of this video. As support, you are the one who should be making these callouts. It pretty much is your job. You have a bird-eyes view of the fight, and you can make determinations that your tank, your frontline, or your DPS, or your flankers might not be able to make. You'll see things, or you'll be able to have more time to think about things than your team would. So it'll even alleviate pressure on your DPS and tanks. Just one more thing off their checklist. One thing as newer players, or even players that have been around a while, you might not know a lot of call out terms. There are a lot of weird ones people will use. I'll actually be linking an Overwatch University thread with pretty much every bit of slang in with Overwatch callouts. It's all covered in there. But an example that I use it, I need to get out of using in lower ranks, because in lower ranks they won't really know what this means. I'll say Zarya no purse, which means, to people that have been around a while, it means Zarya has no personal, no bubble. But so lower rank people are people that just started, they might not have any idea what I'm talking about. So definitely be sure to tailor your callouts to the rank you're in. If you're in higher level, you can make more geometry focused callouts, more slangy callouts, but tailor your callouts to what rank you're in, for sure. That's pretty much it for this one. I wanted to keep it really short. I will be making a second video on how to shot call, because it does tie into this quite a bit, and I even went into a little bit with calling focus on and aggression. But shot calling is very important to learn, so I'll be making another video on that. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it.